what they say you are. Be my friend.
What I've recently been doing with moderating is I know a lot of us have done Q&As before, and it's a lot of the staple questions. And before we get into that, I'd like to do something called Get to Know Your XENO cast member or producer or writer-director. These are not hard-hitting questions, but they are a little bit of a curveball than what you're used to. We're going to go down the line. We're going to try to do this quick because there's so many people, and we're going to start right here. What is your favorite thing to cook?
DoorDash.
Yeah, I'm limited on my cooking, but I love some tomato soup from Trader Joe's. Yeah.
Pomodoro. I'm Italian, so Pomodoro.
Salmon.
Ooh.
My mom's meatballs.
Pizza. Papa's famous meatballs.
I mean, I'm single, so I don't cook, but I would say I like to eat shellfish. How about that?
Nice. A bolognese. Yeah?
Keeping with the food thing, what is your favorite food?
Cereal. Seinfeld style.
Dan noodles, which are like peanut sesame noodles. Yeah.
Honestly, a Shake Shack burger. A really fresh Shake Shack burger.
Yeah, maybe a turkey burger.
I'm starting to learn a lot about you and you make them more healthy. You and I would probably be very good friends. Yeah.
I'm going to go with a Snickers bar.
Apple fan. My wife's mushroom risotto. That's the one.
Shellfish. I love shellfish.
I was going to say bolognese or Southern barbecue.
What is your coffee order?
Nitro cold brew, when possible.
24-ounce iced Americano.
As little as possible, so an espresso.
Matcha.
Are these all going to show up? I want to order a complete meal. I'm cold brew. Always cold brew.
Black. My wife's oat cortado.
This guy's being very safe here tonight.
I do a red eye.
Jesse, are you in the doghouse? I'm gonna follow Lulu and Americano, iced Americano, little bit of half and half. Mm-hmm.
Going into the motif of the film, if you actually encountered a creature on the side of the road that did not look like looked very different, be honest, would you help this creature in need?
Oh, no chance in hell.
No, I'm putting that thing in my Subaru.
I've seen the Subaru, and I don't even think it wouldn't be in the Subaru.
Thanks.
No, it's a very nice car. No, probably not.
I'm sticking around for a little bit.
I worked for a long time at Halloween Horror Nights at Universal Studios, and I would be in costume with other characters, and they would scare me. I'm the biggest scaredy cat in the room. I wouldn't touch that alien.
No way. No. I'm with Omari. I'd stick around a bit.
Yeah, I would have been like Lulu in the film. I would have brought a weapon and probably shot it. I think that's what I would have done.
Heartfelt. There's no chance in hell. I'd run. I'd call Mr. Government fast. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Thank you for indulging me with my, certain questions. But Matthew, I'm going to start with you, and it's a little generic, but where did this idea come from, and how long have you been trying to get this off the ground?
Well, the idea came from seeing my son drawing a picture when he was 6 or 7. He was drawing a lot of monsters. His mom and I were getting a little worried about him. We were looking up child therapists, and he drew this one horrific one, and we asked what it was, and he said it was a croak. And then I asked him, like, when we talked about, is it a monster? Is it the stuff of nightmares? And he was just kind of like, it's not that bad. And that kind of got me thinking. So.
We'll talk a little bit about, I mean, I know that Kevin Hart's entertainment company, Hartbeat, got involved, and there's a few producers on the film, but how tough was it to get this thing off the ground?
It was hard. Funny enough, and I haven't talked about this, it was a long-standing Netflix pitch for their Choose Your Own Adventure technology they bought for Bandersnatch. So at first, yeah, so there was like a little juice there for a while, and then they passed, and I moved on. And it wasn't that, I actually went and saw Brian before I went to the desert to go write this thing. And he was excited for me, and then I got back, I sent it to him, and he was kind of like, you want to go? And that was kind of it.
Yeah, I mean, I had been a long, fan of Matt, maybe 10 plus years at that point before 4 was born. I remember when 4 was still almost born. So a longtime fan of Matt, and I remember at the time, Kevin and Hartbeat were trying to do something a little bit different, and we pitched him an idea, and he really just loved the concept, and eventually read the script. So for us, it was kind of a no-brainer. It was like, how do we put it together? How do we help Matt bring his vision to life, and then getting to work with this incredible team and cast and crew has just been kind of a dream come true. So we're really excited about it.
This is a little bit jokey, but bear with me. Is the message of the movie don't trust people in the government? Or is the message of the movie when you have someone beat up or beat, don't let up? Because I've seen, I say this with all sincerity, because I've seen a lot of movies where like the good person shows mercy and then basically loses because they let up. And I'm sort of joking around, but I'm sort of not.
Our current government?
I don't want to open that door tonight, because if you follow, I don't want to open that door tonight.
No, like
I'll get fired if I do.
All joking the same. I don't want to be a political animal either.
Yeah.
But all sincerity, the theme for me has always been, what makes a monster. So the idea of pushing through or never giving up, that's there. But for me, it's about looking at the things that scare us and trying to see the beauty inside of them.
And also, if you have someone beat, don't let up.
And if you have someone beat, don't let up. I'll add that on.
Lulu, I was looking over the always accurate IMDb, and you've been working in Hollywood for such a long time, and you did Haunting on Hill House, Annabelle Creation, so many other projects that involve scares. And I'm just curious, can you watch scary movies and do you sort of see through them because of your experiences, or do you still get scared?
I'm a fanatic. I love horror movies more than anything in the world. Thanks, guys. I don't really get scared. I love to watch a horror movie and pause it frame by frame and kind of study it. But because I'm so familiar with the genre, I more just watch them to appreciate the art.
Sure.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of movies in the scary genre, or the scary movie genre, with incredible filmmaking.
Yeah. No, I totally agree. Of course.
So going down the line, because I want to get everyone involved, what for each of you, I'm very curious. What was it about? And this is going to skip you. I apologize.
Skip me.
But what was it about this script and this story project that said, "Oh yeah, I want to do this"?
Yeah. Well, for starters, I think an obvious one is, the Jim Henson Company was involved. That's pretty incredible. Definitely drew me to the project. But Renee as a character is so similar to me. She wants to stick up for the underdog. She's an outcast. She's a loner. She kind of finds love in the unlovable. And I think just the character of Renee really drew me in. She's a real young woman. It's not, her story's not sugar-coated. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, when I first read it, and I got the sides, I thought it was a comedy, because the sides that I got were very comedic, and I've done a lot of comedic roles in my life. And then I got the call, and I read the script, and I was like, oh, great. I'm going to be playing a character that I usually play, and then I read the script, and then I was like, oh, no, this is a family drama with government and aliens. And that's pretty much how I read it. It was very Spielberg-esque. It was very, Matt just did a great job with kind of folding in all of the great film influences into this film. Even the T-Rex line, I loved that. It was, but yeah, I think for the most part, it was just more how many genres were folded into it, and I think he did a really great job doing that.
I had a conversation with one Brian Smiley, who was a dear friend of mine. And Brian said I would speak to who I now affectionately coin as Maddie, that I'd speak to one Matthew Oates. And we had a really, really great conversation. And obviously, you know, you could tell on page that it had a lot of remnants of E.T. And we were all, you know, beloved fans of E.T., or at least in that conversation, Matt let it be known that he was as well. And influenced by just, I guess, to Lulu's point, the pariahs of life, you know, just the outcast. And especially in today's world, there's so many of us who feel, you know, in our own, I guess, lone wolf sort of movement and looking for the pack. And my characters stood out on page, and I just felt the cat needed a hug. And I thought, that's a really cool character to play, just a guy that is consistently asking for a hug without asking. And, you know, I just thought it was great. He told me Lulu Wilson was involved, and I knew about Lulu's work. I knew of her work, but she's also, you know, I don't know. I like working with people from Georgia. So 2 Georgia peaches got to rock out.
3 Georgia peaches.
3. My bad, Trae. My bad, bro.
I'm going to get myself in the weeds here for a minute, but between myself, Josh, and Jesse, we've known Matt as a person for 20 plus years, give or take. He's somebody we love as a person first, and we respect as a talent second. And Matt has always been incredibly generous to me and to his friends, and will hold that door open as long as he possibly can to let you through. And he invited me to do storyboards for XENO when this was first getting off the ground. And on the way out of town, he said, "You want to just come by Henson and see the sculpt for Croak?" It's like, oh my God, I will date myself. I was born in 1982. I came right up through all those golden Jim Henson movies. My sister and I used to get in trouble drawing lipstick arrows on the sidewalk when we would play Labyrinth in the backyard. My dad would spend whole weekends scrubbing our lipstick. So Matt brought me by Jim Henson Studios. I saw this sculpt that Russ had done there with the team. Life-size sculpt of Croak. That's what they ultimately made the suit out of. And my jaw was on the floor. This place, this magic, it's still in that building. It's still in that company. And I looked at Matt and I said, "I love you. I can't wait to see this thing. What an incredible thing that you're here and you're partnered with this magic from our youth." And I'm cutting out a lot of the story, but I ended up inside that costume. And that, in that moment, was a dream come true and continues to be to this moment right here with you guys.
Gee.
Yeah, it's primarily Matt. Obviously, known. I met him first in his first feature film many years ago, and then we've worked together since in a number of different projects, and we lost touch somehow. I don't really know. It's just life. Lives. And then he called me out of the blue asking me to kind of work on something else. I asked what he was doing. He said this. He told me what it was, and instantly all the same childhood magic. And I was like, that sounds amazing. And I really want to do sci-fi. I've never done any sci-fi before. That'd be so great to be able to do that and work with you again. And he was generous enough to say, yeah, let's do it, which was incredible. So, I mean, yeah. His generosity is a big reason to work with him for any project.
Before you pass it on, how much do you pay them to say this?
Oh, I wish I'd paid them not to. This is very embarrassing. Thank you, guys. Gals.
All right, Matt, get ready. Matt and I went to film school together. We met when we were 18 years old. Yeah. So it is a trip to sit here and watch a movie that we love. The question was, what attracted you to XENO and why did you want to do it? I've known Matt for that long. Matt has written dozens of scripts. I've produced most of his projects. And when I read XENO, immediately I thought about our connection and our love of movies. And I saw Iron Giant, and I saw Terminator, and I saw The Thing, and I saw King Kong, and the message of loving the other and something different than you, and Ray Harryhausen. And we started to talk about puppets and how we were going to do it. And I mean, this happened in a moment of minutes after reading it. It was like, yep, there it is. How do we do it? So That's how he got me involved. Yeah.
All right, so I hate being cliche, but it was also for me, Matt. I've known Matt also a long time, and I just believed in his work and his vision, and also to echo what Omari said, this idea of doing something that was very kind of Amblin-esque in that kind of ET world. Just thought about how do you love something that has the potential to be so violent and deadly. We just thought was really fascinating. So, again, really happy to be a part of this with Kevin and Luke and Ty and the whole team, and really came out, wilder than our biggest expectations. So yeah.
All right, well, I'm going to be the bookend here and just a little bit more compliments for Matt, just what he would love right now. I've known Matt and his family since Ford was about 2 years old. What's up, Ford? I see you. What's up, my dog? That's right. So that's sort of the initial, entrance to the film. But really, ultimately, Matt's love for film, ultimately his knowledge for film. He knows more about film than a lot of people I know that love film, and his love for film, his knowledge for film, and the fact that we were doing practicals and not CGI, and really this love for that's right, sort of a 90s love for film, and what I think a lot of audiences are missing in film and craving. And so when I read that we were going to go with Henson, and cheers for Henson and their team. That's right. How do you say no? It's a dream. So really, it's Matt. Yeah. And this cast, an incredible cast. So, yeah.
So as I said at the beginning, I really do love talking about the editing process because it's where it all comes together. So talk a little bit about how the film changed in the editing room in ways you didn't expect, if at all.
When we set out, I got to be honest, I intended to show even less of the suit. I always referenced the barrels in Jaws and this idea of this thing in the shadows, and look, it's a fine line. Hopefully, you all bought the illusion, but I just kept wanting to see it. I wanted to see that Henson work, and I wanted to see the work that Garrett put into it, and I wanted to see Lulu with this creature that Garrett's and see her engagement with it. So I would say, that was the surprise. It was very hard. It was like you're looking for 2 seconds, 3 seconds, 5 seconds, 1 second of usable suit footage where the illusion doesn't break. But I think overall there's far more on the screen than I originally imagined. Beyond that, I got it into good shape, and then Brian Scott Steele, are you here, Brian?
He's up there in the back,
Okay.
right there. Brian.
The other editor on this film, he's an unbelievable talent and a magnanimous and beautiful human being. So he came along and he helped give it even further shape.
You know what I really enjoyed watching it was the opening, just to single out one thing, but the opening 15, 20 minutes is really, really well edited in terms of building momentum. And I just love the way you guys cut it. And can you sort of talk about that? Because it's establishing a lot of story, but keeping you on the move with each edit.
Thank you, and I'm proud of that. It's going to be interesting to see how modern audiences engage. It's fitting that 80s, 90s thing. Jesse and I talked a lot about the structure of the first act, and it's something I miss sometimes. That sense of hook them in the beginning as best you can, and then buy yourself some time to breathe and meet people and let moments land and live in the world a little bit before the engine starts. It was very, even when I was writing it, it was all right, she's going out to the desert, at about 10 to 15 minutes. I knew it was somewhere in there. And then I was all right. And then she's come back at the house. All right, she's going back out to the desert, at 25, 30 minutes somewhere in there. And it's classic. And I love it. I don't apologize for it. It's classic cinematic 3-act structure.
No, completely.
Yep. So I want to ask, this is for everyone who wants to answer, but talk a little bit about what you were most excited for or nervous for in the shooting schedule. You know, like, was there a scene or a sequence where you're like, you know what I mean? Like, do you have something circled? Or you're like, I can't wait to film this, or how the f are we going to film this?
I think for most of us as actors, it's always the unpredictability. You know, particularly if you don't know the actor you're working with, and so, you know, operative is of, right? You might know of their work, but if you haven't worked with them, that's a whole nother spirit across from you that you haven't met yet. So I think for me, that was exciting. You know, just what's Lulu gonna bring? What will Trae be like?
Not great.
What will Josh, you know, bring? He was my partner in crime, and often, you know, you're left as an actor to have to look in the mirror and go, no, is my character bringing enough of what they're bringing? You know, but I think the best part of that question perhaps is you can't really think about it. You have to just trust the editing. You have to trust the director. You have to trust the other actor. It's tennis, man. And you just want to hit as solidly as you can hit back and forth. So for me as an actor, and I definitely know that I'm speaking for these castmates because they're quite talented, it's the unpredictability.
And if I could just interject, it was just so much fun watching you work. Like that's Omari all over. It's unpredictable, but it's beautiful and it's real and it's in the moment. And watching him change scenes up, I mean, but always so collaborative. He's a generous actor. All three of you are. So.
Oh, you know, I was pretty nervous for the my monologue scene in the basement with Croak, where I'm, you know, I'm out of ideas with how to feed it, and I'm kind of broken down and finally opening up. I was just worried for that because I was picturing me kind of alone in this room giving this huge emotional speech to nothing. But when I started filming, I realized how much impact just standing next to the suit gave me. You know, I immediately bonded with Croak, and it was just so simple. You know, it took no time, no energy for me to kind of just sit down and spill my guts to this creature suit. Yeah.
And you're wonderful in that scene. I love that scene.
Thank you.
For me, honestly, any scene that I have to scream or raise my voice ever is really always scary to me. I was really dreading the only two scenes that I was screaming. I was really dreading those. I have a very fragile voice. And when I scream, sometimes my voice breaks, and me and my friends know it as like the Michael Jackson hee because it kind of goes in like hee, you know. It's like so. I was just trying to avoid that, but I know that's why I didn't want to sit next to Omari. but yeah, for the most, I mean, but on a like real level, like any scene that I was initially worried about, Matt calmed everything. That, you know, calmed any qualms that I had with it or any anxiety that I had with it. So,
and I always say this, like, Trae, I could have cut 3 different brilliant performances by you. It was so interesting watching him work. He makes, in the best of ways, different choices every time. He did like and I wanted to use it, he did like a real Crispin Glover thing. Like, It was kind of remarkable, but like it just didn't quite, there's moments of it, especially in that cafeteria when like she catches him looking and he's like, it's awesome.
Also, be honest, Matt, you were watching Back to the Future a lot while we were shooting. You were.
No, when he told me that, I was panicking. I was like, he's not going to be able to cut this together. It's going to look awful. And none of it's going to land.
It was so good. Yeah, I thought you were great.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
I'll jump in real quick. You said what was one of the most nerve-wracking scenes that we filmed. And just a quick shout out to Ken Farrington. Ken, are you here? Ken? That's our line producer right there.
Extraordinaire. Amazing
line producer.
The myth and the legend.
Who is doing our next film as well. Ken, so the last scene in the film, you know, when Omari comes out and they have their big attack. As a production, that was one of the most nerve-wracking scenes. You know, I mean, it was one of the biggest scenes. We had taken over the entire sheriff's station. We're shooting in the middle of the night, and the sun is coming up. A very classic movie situation, right? And
about 4:30 a.m.
Yeah, it was 4:30 a.m. And how much of it is the suit and how much of it is CG and Omari, bless him, we did it so many different times, and there were stunts and there was rigging, and that night was pretty stressful. It was the end of the show. It was the apex of the film, and I think that was the one that we were all a little nervous about, and we all improv'd a lot of changes on that night too, and I'm happy where it landed in the film. But I think Ken would agree that was a tough one, right? Yeah, terrible. He said terrible.
He said terrible.
Memorable. Oh, memorable. Oh, that's
not what I heard.
That's better, Ken. Memorable.
Terribly memorable.
I want to chime in real quick. I was always worried about disappointing people, letting people down, and I was game for whatever was asked of me. I wore a harness the whole movie, cinched super tight, thinking I was going to be harnessed at some point. Destroyed my tailbone. I was never slung up on any wires. But there was one night in the desert when I'm out there with Renee, and we're meeting Gil, and they wanted to have me run like 20 feet. And the most taxing thing in this costume is forward movement. Again, I'm game for anything, but the most I'd moved at that point was like 6 feet in Renee's bedroom. So they want me to run in this open desert on sand for 20 feet. I'm down. And I told Matt, I think I got one in me, maybe two. So is everybody ready? Yeah, everybody's ready. They're all down at the end. Sherm, I know you were down there. Paul, the whole crew, and all the bystanders 20 feet away watching me. I'm trying to keep pace with her little ATV thing. They say go. I gave it everything I had. Wheezing, collapsing. By the time I can go about probably 12 feet before I'm like a broken deer. I get down to the end of it thinking like, God, Matt, I gave you everything I had. Everybody is laughing. Doubled over laughing. No, that was really good. We didn't turn the lights on. They hadn't lit it.
We hadn't lit the ATV's lights were off. We lit the Arroyo.
I'm like ready to pass out. They're telling me not to go again. They're Derek, our stunt coordinator, don't go again. My team at Henson, you need to breathe. They got air on my face. I go, no, I got to go do one more for Matt. I go back down. And I do it again because I'm trying to save this footage. It's not in the movie.
Garrett Vanderlyn,
They
yeoman's
laugh
work.
harder.
He was an absolute champion. Champion.
That was terrible.
Nobody worked harder, Garrett.
Yes, that was terrible.
I'm learning that in real time with you guys.
I do think
I was at the crafty table. Sorry, buddy.
So one of the things that's cool is you did this widescreen. Talk a little bit about why that was important to you. Was there any pushback to doing it flat versus widescreen?
All right, Paul Marshall, director of photography. We actually shot it intending it to be 2.0, and and then we got to working with it, and there's just some stuff that wasn't landing for me the way I wanted it to. It just didn't feel cinematic enough. But we had 6K. We had 2,000 extra pixels, and I told Paul, I was like, "This is gonna hurt. You are gonna be unhappy. We're going for it. We're going 239." And whoa!
He said you were right.
Thank you, Paul. I know that must have hurt a little bit. But it came at a creative cost for both of us. I mean, he came over. We worked in my editing suite, and we reframed everything. But I think it captured that sort of. It's funny too because you think about a lot of those '90s movies like Terminator and stuff as these big widescreen, but most of them are like 1.85. But I think just to carry that cinematic movie feeling, it was really important to me that it be widescreen.
I just want to say congratulations to everyone up here for accomplishing what you accomplished. I would like to thank everyone here for coming out tonight. And if you have this thing called social media, the movie is going to be in theaters this Friday. So if you enjoyed it, please spread the word. And if you didn't, go F yourself. I'm joking around. But seriously, congrats to all of you guys.
Thank you.
And thank you for doing the Q&A. And I would ask 1,000 other questions, but I'm out of time.
We appreciate
so I'm just
you
going to
having
say, have a great night and have a great night.
Thank you very much.
Everyone.
Thank you, everybody.